Have you ever stopped to think about what happens when the most vital, relentlessly hardworking engine we possess, our very own heart, actually starts to fail? I mean, think about it for a second. Inside your chest right now is this mechanical marvel, and it beats over 100,000 times a day, basically never taking a break. But just like any highly complex machine, it's vulnerable to wear, tear, and critical breakdowns. So how exactly do we fix it when things go wrong?
Well, welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to look at the human body from a totally different perspective. We're going to treat the body like a complex mechanical engine that requires a highly coordinated central pump, a continuous fuel supply, and a really intricate wiring system. By looking at the cardiovascular system as a piece of brilliant machinery, we can actually understand exactly how different classes of medications are used by doctors to step in, essentially acting as mechanics to fix that engine when it falters.
So here's our manual for today. First, the human plumbing system. Next, the language of flow. Then, the preload chain reaction. And finally, fixing the broken pump.
All right, let's dive right into Section 1, the human plumbing system.
Before we break down the individual parts, we really need to establish the overall purpose of the cardiovascular system. Think of it as the ultimate delivery and waste disposal service for your body's tissues. It's constantly out there supplying essential oxygen, nutrients, hormones, and even therapeutic drugs straight to your cells. But on the flip side, it also has to continuously remove carbon dioxide and waste products so your engine doesn't become toxic. It's just a beautiful, closed-loop system of constant circulation.
Now, what's really fascinating is how perfectly the human body maps onto a simple mechanical engine. The heart itself, that's the central pump. The blood vessels branching out everywhere, those are the pipes. The specific blood supply feeding the heart muscle itself acts as the fuel supply. The heart's internal electrical conduction is the wiring system. And blood cholesterol, well, that mechanically translates to fat clogging up inside those pipes. If you keep these simple analogies in mind, all the complex pharmacology we're going to discuss later is going to make perfect, logical sense.
Okay, moving right along to Section 2, the language of flow.
Before we really pop the hood and watch this engine run, we need to speak its language. And that brings us to a crucial concept, hemodynamics. Hemodynamics is, quite literally, the study of blood flow and pressure within the heart and blood vessels. Basically, it's the physics of how blood actually moves through our internal plumbing system. And to understand it, we've got to look at the vital stats of our pump.
Let's start our rapid-fire definitions with a term you definitely know, heart rate. This is simply the number of times your heart beats per minute. Going back to our mechanics blueprint, this is just the speed at which the pump is operating. You know, is it idling slowly or is it racing at top speed?
Now contrast that overall speed with stroke volume. Stroke volume is the actual physical amount, or the volume of blood pumped out with every single individual beat. So if heart rate is the speed, stroke volume is the physical payload of each pump action.
And this is where it brilliantly comes together, because those previous two concepts combine to give us our cardiac output. Cardiac output is the total blood pumped by the heart per minute. It's the ultimate measure of the pump's efficiency. If you multiply your pump speed, your heart rate, by the payload of each beat, your stroke volume, you get your cardiac output, literally the total flow keeping you alive right now.
Next up is blood pressure. I want you to imagine the physical force of the blood crashing against the inner walls of your blood vessels at this very second. That force exerted by the blood right on the vessel wall is your blood pressure. If the pipes are too narrow, or if the pump is pushing way too hard, that pressure spikes.
Finally, we have three absolutely critical mechanical specs that influence how our pump performs. First is preload. That's the amount of blood filling the ventricle right before it contracts. Second is afterload. That's the resistance in the pipes that the heart actually has to pump against to push the blood out. And third is contractility, simply the raw physical force of the cardiac muscle contraction itself. All right, let's put all this into motion in Section 3, the preload chain reaction. We are going to trace this incredible sequence step by step to see how dynamic hemodynamics really is. It all kicks off when blood returns to the heart. As more blood comes rushing back, what we call venous return increases. And because all that extra fluid is rushing in, the heart naturally fills more. Remember our definitions? This means the preload increases. The ventricle is filling up with a larger volume of blood right before it contracts. And because the heart is filling with way more fluid, the actual heart muscle stretches out, kind of like drawing back a rubber band right before you snap it.
So let's keep going and see how this builds. Because that heart muscle has stretched like a rubber band, it snaps back with significantly more force.
Because of that, the heart pumps more blood out, and since it's pumping more blood per beat, the stroke volume increases. With the stroke volume up, our total cardiac output increases, and the grand result of this beautiful automatic chain reaction, blood pressure and the life-sustaining blood supply to your tissues are perfectly maintained. The engine literally adjusted its own flow based purely on how much blood was returned to it. How cool is that?
But, of course, things don't always work perfectly. Let's look at Section 4, Fixing the Broken Pump. So what happens when this beautifully delicate machine actually breaks down? How do doctors step in as mechanics? Well, let's compare our normal, healthy pump operation to a scenario where the pump becomes weak. When the heart muscle loses its contractility and can't generate enough force anymore, the entire system suffers. The payload drops, the engine is failing.
When the pump becomes weak like that, the mechanical solution comes in the form of congestive heart failure drugs. These are specific pharmacological tools designed to support a failing, weak pump, literally helping it to squeeze more effectively and manage the heavy fluid load it's struggling to move.
Now imagine a totally different kind of breakdown. Compare healthy, flexible pipes to a situation where the blood vessels, the pipes, become abnormally tight. When the pipes constrict, the resistance shoots way up. In our language of flow, the afterload drastically increases, creating this enormous pressure that the heart now has to constantly fight against just to do its job.
To solve this, doctors use antihypertensive drugs. Think of these medications as the mechanic's wrench. They are specifically designed to loosen those tight pipes, relaxing the blood vessels. This immediately reduces the resistance and lowers the overall blood pressure in the system, taking a massive workload right off the pump.
But what if the breakdown is in the fuel line? Compare a normal fuel supply to a scenario where the heart muscle itself gets less oxygen. The pump is working relentlessly, right? But its own dedicated supply of oxygen-rich blood is compromised. The engine is essentially suffocating while it's trying to work.
The fix here requires anti-anginal drugs. These medications step in to improve the fuel delivery. They make sure the heart muscle receives the necessary oxygen it requires to keep pumping, often by dilating the specific fuel supply vessels that feed the heart.
And finally, let's quickly summarize our last two major system fixes. If there's an irregular rhythm, meaning the heart's electrical wiring system is misfiring, we use anti-arrhythmic drugs to restore the proper electrical current. On the flip side, if there's a severe blockage risk due to high blood cholesterol, which again is essentially dangerous fat building up inside the pipes, we use anti-hyperlipidemic drugs to clear out those lipid levels and protect the plumbing. It's amazing. Every single mechanical problem has a corresponding pharmacological tool designed to fix it.
We've seen how the heart acts as a central pump, how hemodynamics dictate the flow of the entire system, and how precise medications act as mechanics' tools to fix specific breakdowns. So I want to leave you with this question. If millions of your cells depend on this intricate mechanical blueprint every single second just to survive, how well are you maintaining your internal engine? It's an absolutely incredible machine, and understanding how it works is really the first step to keeping it running smoothly. Keep learning and keep taking care of that vital pump.